And there's no chance you could see him in a possible matchup against the Clippers, let alone a series against the Suns. But yesterday, before New Orleans playoff game, Williamson looked a lot like the healthy Zion we saw last season, throwing down a 360 dunk. Jay, do you believe what's happening here? Do you believe Zion is ready to play?
Hell no. No. Seeing him dunk doesn't mean he's healthy to me.
Okay.
And now I get it. It's one hell of a dunk.
Yeah.
I mean, but for me as an athlete, right, I pay attention to smaller nuances. Mm-hmm. So the dunk is always what I've seen Zion Williamson do, even when he's not healthy, on a hurt knee in high school. It's little things like the blow-by speed. So if you're watching the video, look, it's like a senior citizen trying to give a move to like a standing target, right? The guy defending him.
And then folks like me are like, ooh,
look at the dunk. And I'm looking at the move before the dunk saying, I need to see way more.
For Game 7.
Exactly, explosiveness. I need to see him running up and down the court doing conditioning. I need to see him doing so much more than just a dunk where I can run to the assumption and say, hey, throw him in Game 4 of a playoff series. Why would you want to do that to a young asset like Zion Williamson? Like, think the guy he's played 85 games, legs. 85 games. He's missed the entire year. You're telling me now, after missing the entire year, a guy who had him on a minutes restriction when he did play, we're going to throw him back into a playoff intensity and say, just give us 10 to 15 minutes. No, I'm making sure that whatever I do with you, if I'm Trajan Langdon, the general manager of the Pelicans, whatever we do, we are setting ourselves up for a long-term success with you. I see what we can have. CJ McCollum, Brandon Ingram, Zion Williamson. That is a core. That's a trio that can get us very deep into the Western Conference.
Here's what I thought when I saw that clip. The first thing I thought was, man, wouldn't that be fun to do that one time in my life? That'd be a lot of fun to know what that feels like. Okay, that's the first thing I thought.
Amen.
The second thing I thought is, this is actually more about hope for the franchise and the fan base to see it. Because think about it. We just went months without a sighting of Zion Williamson. No idea what he looked like. How was he progressing physically? We saw one clip where he was doing these little side-to-side shuffles, and it looked terrible. You're like, oh, my God. This is one of the most elite athletes to ever step in this league, and this is what he looks like right now? So then they shelved the video. You know, maybe no more video on Zion right now. So now you see this video. This isn't about him playing this year. This is about them projecting, hey, guys, look, Zion is back to being explosive athletically, and it's hopeful for next year. But here's the only problem with that. Listen, I buy in. Season ticket holders, great. Fan base, great. Man, CJ McCollum, Brandon Ingram, and this next year, the problem is this. In between now and then is another 4-month layoff. That's where it gets dangerous and dicey. So I hope he comes in committed to what you were just talking about with James Harden and comes in committed the way Joel Embiid did this year, transformed his game. Come in ready day one. The most svelte you've ever looked. For a guy that size, that's not, svelte might not be the best word, but you know what I mean. Show us the best version of yourself physically day one of camp so we can have now projected long-term success with you. That's all we want. That's all I took. That's great to see. Now let's see it again in early October.
I'm sure he will. 345 days. I'm sure he's clamoring to get out there.
He does look. He's in a lot better of shape now than he did in that Gatorade. Do you remember that Gatorade commercial?
Yeah.
Look, my man was weighing 350 plus pounds. Yeah. Like, so at least he's progressing the right way.
We all get thick and fluctuate. I can relate. So it's it's all good.
Okay.
We'll be ready to go.
I tackled my COVID 10. I had my lockdown 10.
It is what it is. You know, we all ebb and flow in life. We're trying to get it right. All right, you guys are off the clock for just a minute. I'm going to bring in the football guys because Baker Mayfield, and Jay, you're going to get your take on this a little later in the show, saying he feels disrespected by the Cleveland Browns after they traded for Deshaun Watson last month, effectively ending Mayfield's tenure after 4 seasons as the team's starting quarterback. Though Mayfield remains on the Browns roster, the team is actively looking to trade him. Mayfield said the Seattle Seahawks, who traded away star quarterback Russell Wilson to the Denver Broncos this offseason, were probably the most likely option for him. But I'll let 103 victory over the San Antonio Spurs to advance in the NBA's play-in tournament. McCollum got off to a fast start, scoring 27 points in the first half, including 19 in the second quarter, when he was perfect 7 of 7 from the field. The Pelicans will play at the Clippers on Friday night for a chance to advance to the playoffs as the 8th seed and take on the top-seeded Phoenix Suns. Jay Williams, what did CJ McCollum prove last night to you?
So to me, I think it's over the course of time. I think CJ has proven that he's a better teammate to where Brandon Ingram is today than where LeBron James was to Brandon Ingram when he was in LA. When you come into the league, when your expectation is to win now, that puts a lot of pressure on young players, right? Like, you know this from a guy who's played. Like, your first couple of years in the league, like, you're trying to find yourself. You're trying to find yourself with veterans. You're trying to find yourself with a new arena, new crowds. You're just dealing with making money for the first time, how that affects your family. How that affects you personally as an individual. So you're learning how to work. You're learning how to be a pro. Now, I'm saying LeBron James is great to learn that from. But when you play with LeBron James, I've heard J.R. Smith say it. I've heard D. Wade say it. The level of expectation goes boom, so fast that everything you do gets criticized. The way you work out or the lack thereof you working out. The way you take shots or the way you don't take shots. Look at what we're seeing this year with this team. People are questioning whether they should hold on to Anthony Davis. Look what it's done to Russell Westbrook. So the environment has changed now for Brandon Ingram. And you have a guy like C.J. McCollum who's a different type of leader because the expectation doesn't come to win yesterday, right? We can build towards something now. Hey, young fella, this is how you get into the game. Here's how you work. And also it's a byproduct of where you're at, right? Now, when Zion comes back, if he's able to come back, I think expectations increase drastically. But what I'm saying for the type of player that Brandon Ingram is now, I think it takes a while for you to grow into that limelight of being the guy or playing with the guy instead of CJ, who still holds himself like he's the guy, but cachet doesn't bring the same expectations to the table like LeBron James does to a young pup coming into the game.
That's super insightful, especially the component of being a teammate to a young player and how that empowers you if you get next to the right guy.
Yes.
That's a very important component. Now, here's what I'll say about C.J. McCollum. And I can go back and I can find all kinds of sound, Jay, from over the summer, because I was clamoring for the Philadelphia 76ers to move Ben Simmons for C.J. McCollum, because you could have got C.J. McCollum plus a pick. Potentially Robert Covington could have come back in that deal, and you had C.J. McCollum. And I was telling people, and I went on the record and said, listen, if C.J. McCollum gets his own team as a starting point guard in this league, book it. 23-8. Those are his numbers. And you know what those numbers do? They put you in the Hall of Fame. And that's how good I think C.J. McCollum is offensively. I was wrong. It's actually 25-8. That's what he's capable of when you give him his own team. This dude is built for the moment. I go back to a few years ago. You remember the Game 7 they played against Denver on the road? Damian Lillard struggled in that game. I don't even know. I don't have the numbers in front of me. Let's say something like 3 for 17. C.J. McCollum had 30-plus in that game on the road in a Game 7 in a marquee game. The lights turned up. Got them on to the next round. I will never forget how clutch he was in that game. He's mid-range. He's deep. He handles it. He can run ball screen. Well, he's got his own team now. And look at the way this guy is playing. And look what he did last night. That's why I was asked to make my prediction before the game. And I said, very simple. This is C.J. McCollum's moment. He's built for this. This is going to be his game. And it was. And Ingram was great too. But that was about C.J. McCollum controlling the game. And that's why I actually think they're going to beat the Clippers. That's the first road team to win one of these play-in games. I think New Orleans can beat them. And now I start spinning to next year. Imagine McCollum with Ingram and a healthy Zion Williamson. You now have a team that's relevant in the West.
You know, Molly, you never have to worry about C.J. McCollum showing up to gym, up to work in shape. Like, think about the difference. Just me saying that one line for James Harden. I'm not saying that his ceiling is as high as James Harden's.
Yeah.
But what he brings to the table each and every day and the way he leads, like thinking about him and Joel Embiid together, you can make a case that's a better duo than James Harden.
And with
Joel
the Lehigh, the local people love him in Philadelphia.
I'm sure. And he essentially said after, we're just getting started here as an organization. But you mentioned Zion. So Zion Williamson hasn't played in a game the entire season. Our own Cassidy Hubbard reported